Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and I waded through the absolute cesspool of cringe that was Wizards livestream, where 4 people came together and tried to act like human beings who know how to talk. And the result was, well, let's just jump into it. First up, we got Era of Enlightenment, one of many enchantment sagas, and that they didn't ban any of the class cards. I feel like this is going to spiral out of control, but yeah, this is just a white common, Scry 2, okay. Stage 2, you gain 2 life. In Stage 3, exile the saga and then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. So when it becomes a creature, it is an enchantment creature, human monk, 2/2 with first strike. So just kind of a neat card. Next up, Michigo's Reign of Truth. I guess this person of the artwork is a big fan of history. Oh no, I think I caught the cringe virus from watching their cringe live stream. So for stage 1 and 2, target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each artifact and or enchantment you control. So that for 2 is outrageous. You obviously have to set it up, but you could just basically like +7 something within reason. And you get to do it twice. Yeah. I know this is a mono heavy set, but like, did they not think for 1 second that with all the class cards and all the saga cards and all of the basically constellation mechanic, that somebody might play this card in a deck where it's going to be +5, 6, 7, 8, and then put it on a trample, hexproof, flying, or unblockable creature? I guess they forgot you can mix the colors together. And they made this an uncommon. Anyway, when it turns into a creature, it gets +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment you control permanently. This is completely out of control. Just imagine basically equipment that does this that costs 0 to equip and you drop in for 2. People would be losing their minds. That'll be the best equipment in the game. It would be better than most of the legendary swords. Just to benchmark it, just to compare it here. And this is in a set with a bunch of unblockable creatures. Wow. Well, that'll have to get banned. Next up, the Modern Age 2-drop blue saga. Draw a card, then discard a card, and then do it again. And then exile it and turn it into some origami Strixhaven leftovers, aka Vector Glider. So it's a 2/3 flyer. This is just a control enabler, and honestly, the way the meta's going, you'll probably win the game with this. A crappy little flying creature with 2 power. Next up, Life of Toshira Umezawa. It's 1 and 2 are the same here. I guess that's a bit of a theme. So 1 and 2 are actually triple modal, which is interesting. So choose one. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or you gain 2 life. Pretty good options there. And then 3, exile it, turned it into Memory of Toshiro. Enchantment creature, of course, 2/3. You can tap it, pay 1 life, add 1 black mana to your mana pool, and then spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. So seems pretty specific. Probably a draft card or something, who knows. Next up, the Shattered States era. Oh good, number 1 is gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. Great, at least it costs 5. Then 2, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. And 3, exile and turn it into Homeboy here, Nameless Conqueror. 3/3 trample haste. Next up, Azusa. She looks like she's still lost but seeking. Somebody should really send out a rescue party at this point. So this time she's going on many journeys because she gets lost a lot. I think she might have dementia. Can we get a silver alert? Anyway, number 1, you may play an additional land this turn. Number 2, you gain 3 life. Number 3, exile it and turn it into Likeness of the Seeker. Whenever it becomes blocked, untap up to 3 lands you control, and it's only a 3/3, so that's actually interesting. Do you take 3 damage, or do you block it and probably kill it, but then they get 3 lands back? Hey, remember Unclaimed Territory where it would untap every single land you control during your end step? Remember that? And it wasn't legendary, so you could stack it up, order the triggers, then respond to them by spending all of your mana, untapping it again, well, pooling all of your mana, untapping it again, then spending it. I remember. That card was a disease. I don't think they ever banned it either, did they? So next we got Boseiju Reaches Skyward. It's another saga here. Number 1, search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal them, then put them into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, I mean for 4, all right. And then 2, put up to 1 target land card from your graveyard on top of your library. And then 3, exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. Why do I keep reading the third one? We know what it does. So you get a branch. It's a 0/0 plant with reach, and it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, which has proven to be very problematic in the past. But if it's on a 0/0, I mean, how far are you really going to get? And if you have 8 lands in play, your opponent should be worried about more than this branch. Now that said, they gave this reach, and that is also what's written on the token from Ren 7. I think that's the version of Ren, whatever it is, the Planeswalker. That's a little too much grow with land drop, landfall is still legal, reachy boys. Next up, another saga. I wasn't kidding when I said there's a lot of them. So 1 and 2 are you gain 2 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Exile one of them face down with a hatching counter on it. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So then for 3, you still exile it and create a 0/1 enchantment creature egg called Dragon Kami's Egg, but whenever it or a dragon you control dies, you may cast a creature spell from among cards you own in exile with hatching counters on them, of course, without paying its mana cost. Yay, more free casting, hooray. Look, it's top 3 cards of your library, so your chances of not getting some crazy bomb are actually like pretty good. So basically, if they attack with anything and you block with your 0/1, you're going to get a free creature, which is kind of a funny dynamic. It's not quite to the level of, oh, I just put out a 1/1 Death Toucher and ruined your entire deck for the next 5 turns, but it's close. The problem is you do this for step 1 and 2, you get a double free cast. Now your odds just went up. I mean, free casting 2 things for 3 is pretty ridiculous. Even if it's 3 turns, it doesn't matter, and the mono green deck is pretty much unstoppable right now already because they refuse to ban Blizzard Brawl among other cards. Like, for example, Vorinclex, or Ren and whatever number 3 we're on at this point. Yeah, I think this is a big mistake. I think this is a lot more powerful than they thought. Next up, Teachings of Kirin. I hope you're running enchantment removal. I would count these, but I think we're on like 10 to 12 at this point. So, number 1, mill 3 cards, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Number 2, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. And the number 3, Flippy Boy. So it's a Kirin Touch Jirachi. It's a 1/1 enchantment creature snake monk, and whenever it attacks, choose 1, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Can't get too much of that. When you do, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token, or exile target non-creature card from a graveyard. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It builds up over time, but I feel like it's a little too slow. I mean, that said, you drop this in on turn 2. Okay. Oh, and if you're about to say, like I almost did, oh, but green doesn't have many flyers, so that's the point. That spirit is on the ground. Not all spirits can fly, you bigot. Next up, we got the Kami War. This is already leaked, so I don't know, it's up on screen, it's a mythic, whatever. Pause it and read it if you want, otherwise we're going to the next one, which is the alternate art versions of 2 cards we saw leaked yesterday. Kairi and Ao, or however you say it. I heard the one on the right, if you assemble all 5 pieces, you can obliterate your enemies. Next up, we got more alternate art for cards we already saw. Oh, except for the Wandering Emperor, that one's new. That's, in case you can't tell by that animeified artwork, is the Wanderer. She's now Emperor because they solved her, I don't know, planeswalking Tourette's, for lack of a better term. So Kaido we saw like, I don't know, 37 years ago, but the Wandering Emperor is double white, 2 colorless, 4 cost, total, 3 loyalty, and it has flash. And as long as the Wandering Emperor entered the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime you would cast an instant. It's about time we had instant speed abilities that are just locked down to 1 turn. I think we had it maybe once in the past, but I can't name it. +1, put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains first strike till end of turn. That's a fun little ambush. -1, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. And -2, exile target tapped creature. Nice. You gain 2 life. So she went from absolute ass whooping in War of the Spark to, oh no, I exiled a thing and almost died. Definitely not appreciating the power down. They did specifically say that her armor is in the shape of feathers, so we still got the whole feather thing going on. Not going to get back into it. But, I mean, it's an interesting card. Mythic, not even close. Come on. What are you doing? So if you don't have a creature set up for the +1, you're going to flash her in on your opponent's turn, and then just -1 or -2 to screw with them. Really, really good spell, but then she sticks around, and once you build her back up, you might be able to do it again. Also, she might be at 4, which that's wild. But there's no more surprises because she can't do it at instant speed anymore. So it's definitely a good card. I mean, I still feel like they powered down the Wanderer from like super mysterious, ultra, all-powerful, kill everything in 1 hit, but, well, technically she's still killing something in 1 hit. All right, I'll take it over an overpowered card. All right, you ready to get pissed off? Because right around here is where they lost the chat, and the chat just started insulting them. Go Shintai of Shared Purpose, Legendary Enchantment, Creature Shrine. That's right, the shrines weren't toxic enough in Historic, and in Modern, and in Standard. With their draw your whole deck control-a-thon shit show with almost no way to interact with them. We now have less ways to interact with them. Historic is absolutely dead and buried now because of this. But they made the shrines into not only enchantments which matter, but creatures. So it's a 1/3 with vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token for each shrine you control. So just flood the field for 4 mana and the game's over. Wonderful. Great. Can't wait. If they start blowing up shrines, that's fine. Just kill them with the shrines. Because you were killing them with the shrines before, now you can directly kill them with the shrines. The remaining shrines. Of course, if you blow up like 4 of them and this is the only one left, you still get a 1/1 every single end step instead of, 5 1/1s. Trust me, if you did not live through the absolute hell that was shrines when it was legal in standard and historic. Oh, because they added in the other 5, by the way, to historic. That was a real treat. Thanks, Arena. It was a nightmare. So to see these absolute pieces of shit back, you are not going to run an enchantment deck without shrines. And there's going to be an all shrines deck, I guarantee it. So that's the worst thing in this entire set of spoilers. Although you're going to get pissed when you see the last card, let's just put it that way. So next up we got the real version of the Wanderer, what she really looks like, so I thought I'd throw that in. And then we've got Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh, because he just loves to show up everywhere with his Jamaican dreadlock look. So Tezzy here is a 4-cost double blue 4 loyalty planeswalker, and he has a passive of the first activated ability of an artifact you activate. Each turn costs 2 less to activate. Oh good, so we're probably going to see affinity or toxic artifacts. So if you can't basically destroy every artifact or every enchantment in play, you're going to lose. Wonderful. Well, don't run red. You don't stand a chance in hell of winning unless you win on turn 4. So, +1, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card, which kind of gets through your deck a little quick if you're running blue control. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. Oh yeah, and soul artifact, okay. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power, toughness 4/4. And then -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. Oh, somebody's going to play this in Commander. Next up, we got Jin Gitaxias. Just wanted to throw it up to confirm. Well, 1, you get the Phyrexian version that's worth $1 trillion, and 2, that pretty much is what the translation was that I showed yesterday. Next up, we got an alternate art version of these planeswalkers. This is the borderless version. But wait, there's more. So here's the Wanderer again. We've got Samurai frame. I guess that's the showcase frame. Okay. But wait, there's more. We've got soft glow editions. So that's Jin Gitaxias Progress Tyrant in soft glow edition. I assume the card requires a AAA battery on the back. And then we're moving on to Silver Fur Master, which proves that we got ninjutsu, as if we didn't already know that from leaks. It's blue and black, which is always a fun combo that totally doesn't perpetually ruin the game, especially when they splash white. And ninjutsu costs 2. And ninjutsu abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate because he trained the Ninja Turtles. And other ninja and rogue creatures. Oh god, rogues are still a thing. You gotta be kidding me, you're combining those. Anyway, get +1/+1. Great. Hopefully nobody plays this. Next up, we got the Kami War, which turns into Okagachi Made Manifest. This was leaked but poorly, so here's the real version. Then we got Bosaiju, who endures. It's a legendary land. You can tap it and add 1 green, and it comes in untapped, so that's nice. And then channel 2, which is very important. So you pay 2, discard it. So instead of playing it, you discard it from your hand and cast it as if it were a spell, basically. And then destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land that opponent controls. Good. I mean, you had me until land destruction, but sure. Who in their right mind would not target an enchantment or artifact in this set? That player may search their library for a land card. Huh, no matter what. So you blow up an artifact or enchantment, they still get the land card. Huh. Okay, put it into the battlefield and shuffle. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So, interesting card. I mean, you could drop it in for mana, or you could use it to destroy one of the broken, sagas, or let's be honest, shrines. And it's legendary, so if you already have one in play, you're going to hold it like it's a spell. So, yeah, I like it. Next up, the Kami War. These are all starting to just run together in my head. I don't know if I've even shown this yet or not, but this is the soft glow edition, so hooray. Those wrinkles look an awful lot like the wrinkles we've seen before, by the way. So I don't know if that was real or an effect. It looked to me like the card was actually like crumpled to hell. I could go look up a picture, but I've got crap to do today and I got to rush editing this. So next up, Enthusiastic Mechanaut. He just looks worried. He doesn't look that enthusiastic. Well, anyway, it's a 2/2 for 2 in the toxic colors that shall not be named, just like Voldemort. And flying, artifact creatures you cast cost 1 less to cast. Oh, I can't wait for all the affinity cards. That'll just be an absolute treat and a half. Next up, we got Surge Hacker Mech, because it just wouldn't be future Space Japan without mech suits. And of course, we got a Soft Glow Gundam card. Great. So it's an artifact vehicle, 5/5 with crew 4 with menace, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Now, they might not even go full-blown artifacts that do things. It might be, they keep talking about number of artifacts and reducing their cost with Tezzeret. That might just be, some commander bait, non-interactive and standard in any way crap, or equipment's equip and vehicles crew abilities. I think those would count. So that might be all there is to this. I hope so. I do not want to see artifact affinity, and we already basically have it on a couple cards. Next up, Gorogoro, Disciple of Ryusai. I don't remember. Is this the guy that comes in like 31 different flavors or whatever? Mr. Pink and Yellow and Blue, whatever. Anyway, he's got a samurai trim. Oh boy. We've already seen this card no matter what, but if you pay 5, you get a free 5/5 dragon, so that's ridiculous. Next up, the reality chip. Yeah, they crammed all that on the type line. Legendary artifact creature equipment jellyfish. Oh, hello person who just looked up at the screen to see if I was lying or not. We don't play those kind of games on my channel more than once a week. I kid thee not, it's an equipment jellyfish artifact. I already lost it. Whatever, it's a jelly boy. So it's 2 cost 0/4. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as the reality chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. And then reconfigure 3. You can attach it for 3, so it's basically equip, but also you can unequip it for the same cost. And if it is not attached to a creature, it is a creature. Honestly, kind of neat. The one problem is there is literally 0 reason to make this legendary other than in the lore there's one of it. But when has that ever stopped them in the past? So back in Space India, they tried the self-driving vehicles, and I just tried to run that and ended up as a parking lot. I had like 2 or 3 cards trying to enable them to run without a pilot and just could not get it going. Everybody would just blow up that card. But self-driving equipment, let's go. So then we had a cringe backpack, we had a cringe plushie, some other cringe crap that I missed the screenshot on and didn't feel like backing up. And yeah, they built that entire set instead of like proofreading cards or hiring somebody who isn't a dumbass. Anyway, let's get to the last 2. Tamiyo's Completion. Just gonna drop that bomb on your face. So it's a 4-cost blue non-legendary, because that makes sense in the story. Enchantment Aura with Flash, and enchant artifact, creature, or planeswalker. When Tamiyo's Completion enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent. If it's an equipment, unattach it. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So really just an overpriced pin down, but for 1 extra mana over what it usually is, because the baseline is usually 3 for a pin down. It's not like we've never seen Singing Bell Strike, but you could untap it for 6. So for 4, a single blue hits a planeswalker or whatever. But I mean, common slot. This is obviously just meant to be in draft. But then we've got, oh boy, Tamiyo Compleated Sage, which I'm going to call Tami-Tron. So it's a 1 blue mana, 1 hybrid blue-green Phyrexian mana, 1 green, and then 2 generic. So, hooray, Phyrexian mana is back. It's the end of the world. I think they just put it on 1 card because that's Mark Rosewater's MO lately is, I'm just going to put Infect on 1 card. I'm just going to put Storm on 1 card. Just to piss you off, just as the subtle little hidden middle finger to the players. Compliments of the Storm scale. So I don't think throwing in 2 life in the middle on the hybrid is really going to, end the world here, but getting her out for 4 instead of 5 is, that's somewhat significant. It's not just a free spell, which is what they screwed up the first time with Phyrexian mana, though. So, Legendary Planeswalker Tamiyo, 5 loyalty, obviously, completed, which somehow just explains what Phyrexian mana is. I'm already confused. I have a feeling, since they made it a keyword, they don't just make it a keyword for 1 card. When we actually battle the Phyrexians, we're going to see completed, and it's just going to be hybrid Phyrexian. So 2-color Phyrexian, where you could pay with either of the colors or 2 life. But then in theory, the way it's written, though they have done this differently in the past, it only can apply to planeswalkers because this planeswalker then enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So you get a 1 discount, but you get a 2 loyalty penalty. That's pretty significant. I would just pay 1 more. But if I didn't have it, so let's see what superpowered Tami-Tron does. +1, tap up to 1 target artifact or creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Or -X, exile target non-land permanent card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card. So a tap down and a resurrector where you still have to pay for the card. Underwhelming, but that's fine. Any mythic big story twist thing that isn't an overpowered game-ruining dumpster fire, I will take it. So -7, create Tamio's Notebook. Ooh, a legendary colorless artifact token with spells you cast cost 2 less to cast and tap draw a card. Oh, don't let her get a hold of her notebook. Burn that sucker. So that is it for the spoilers today. It was almost more interesting with the story spoilers, so I might be forced to read the story, but, well, I still haven't read Crimson Vow, so we'll see. I am traveling today. Who knows? I might whip out my phone. Well, now I gotta edit this, and I was supposed to leave 1 minute from now, so we'll see if I can edit this entire video in a minute. I've gotta go call someone. I'll see you guys next video.